Well, you guys ask me all the time about ways that you can disciple your young children, and I want to tell you about something I found that I think you're going to love. I am always searching for curriculum that's theologically solid, rich in apologetics, and wait for it, easy to use. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about the Answers Bible curriculum for homeschool from my friends at Answers in Genesis. This amazing program covers the entire Bible in just 4 years, and it was created specifically for kindergartners through fifth graders to be taught at the same time, which is going to save you time and simplify your day. You guys are going to get quality that you expect from AIG, and it's deep, fun, packed with truth, and designed to equip your kids to defend the faith. If you're ready to try it, head on over to answersbiblecurriculum.com/Heidi and download a free lesson to get started. That's answersbiblecurriculum.com/Heidi. Hey everyone, welcome to the Off the Bench podcast. This is Heidi St. John. I'm so glad that you're here. Today we're going to dive into some school choice water. I know this is a divisive topic. Sometimes you guys are frustrated by it. I hear from you because you write to me. I'm going to dive into this with my resident expert in chief, Karen England. She is joining me again on the show to talk about this. And we're going to talk about President Trump and whether or not he can fix what's wrong with the education system in this country. If you're not familiar with Karen England, today you are going to get a healthy dose of this woman. She is a fire-breathing dragon for children and on the front lines of the war to keep our children safe and to rid our schools and our libraries of pervasive pornography, which is literally all over and aimed at children. Karen is the president of Capital Resource Institute and its partnering programs, The Kitchen Table Activist and Take Back the Classroom. She has spent nearly 3 decades empowering parents to fight for what is right in the public schools again and to rid our schools and our libraries of all this junk. I love having this woman here in the Pacific Northwest. You guys are going to love this conversation. Stick around. I think you're going to be encouraged. Shout out to our sponsor, the Functional Medical Institute. I love those guys. Check them out at homeschoolhealth.com and be sure and use the coupon code Heidi for 20% off your entire purchase. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to jump right into this because I don't often get somebody who is as willing to jump into this topic as my friend Karen is. You guys know that forever and a day, I've been talking about homeschooling and talking about the crisis in our public schools. I started off kind of tiptoeing into it and saying, it's not for everyone. And then I was a little bit more passionate about it. And then I switched from calling them public schools to government schools. And that's when you knew I was like, get your kids out of these schools. They are not, they're not they're not friends for your children. These people are injuring your kids. And there's a caveat, 2 of them actually, that I want to issue at the top of this show. And one of them is Karen and I are going to be having a very frank and honest discussion about what's happening in our schools. You might hear some words that make you feel uncomfortable. If you don't want your little kids listening, now's the opportunity to scoot them out of the room because the whole reason we're doing this is so your kids don't have to hear this kind of garbage. So this is your little warning for that. Also, I want to recognize up front that there are good teachers in our schools. I recognize that we do have many good superintendents, lots of good principals. I believe that their hands have been tied by a system that is corrupt, morally corrupt, spiritually corrupt, educationally corrupt. I think that they've been beholden now to the teachers' unions and to monies that come from unions. And I frankly think their hands have been tied. And I've known more than one teacher who has come to me and said, that's exactly right. So I'm not here to say that if you're a Christian teacher in the public schools, you're doing a bad job. Quite the opposite. I think we need more Christians in the public school system, but we need to get our children out of these schools. And with that, welcome Karen England back to the podcast. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. And thank you. I'm just so glad to be in person with you, Heidi.
It's so much better in person. I feel like there's kind of an energy and you give off energy like everywhere you are.
You do too. So that's why we enjoy each other's company. Yeah. Woo. Yeah.
It's a thing. Let's jump into this. So President Trump wins a mandate, I think, from the American people on a massive scale on November 4th when he won both the popular vote and the Electoral College vote. He has stunned America by doing, wait for it, exactly what he said he would do. And I think his first 100 days are going to be this. He's an
Every
icon.
day is like Christmas waking up, and it's like,
is.
and the other side doesn't know what to do. We didn't vote for this. Oh yeah, we did. We knew it. He said.
We don't like it. We don't like that you're showing what USAID is doing with them. Put it back. It's just, it's I mean,
That's exactly what we wanted.
it's exactly what we wanted. And I saw a guy on Instagram the other day saying, well, I hope you conservatives are happy. And I'm like, oh, we are so happy.
Oh, and I love the unelected. Oh, like Fauci.
Like Fauci?
Yeah.
Like Fauci from the Fauci ouchie?
Yeah. And then they talk about how Elon Musk is going in there, and we don't know who's looking at all this personal information. And it's like, exactly. Who was looking at all of our is conservatives' personal information all these
Where were you
this
guys
time?
when the FBI was investigating people for going to school board meetings? Why didn't you care then? Yeah. I mean, I actually am really enjoying watching them twist in the wind a little bit.
I'm on MSNBC every day.
Oh, come on.
Joe and Mika are a lot of fun to watch.
Joe and Mika have been having a little, I think their marriage might be in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys buckle up. Joe and Mika are going to have a little bit of a hard.
Well, it won't be his first.
No, that's true. That's absolutely
I met
true.
him when he was a conservative.
No.
And I volunteered with Concerned Women for America and went back. This is when I was first getting involved to D.C. And he was a freshman when Newt Gingrich. That was, I think,
No kidding.
2 wives ago.
So somehow.
Maybe it was just one.
When
but,
we measure our lives in wives,
that's
something is not right.
That's right.
Well, it's interesting, liberalism, leftism, I think it's a mental disease.
Yeah.
I mean, once it gets a hold of you, it's kind of all bets are off. You don't know what a woman is anymore. You think it's okay to have pornography peddled to children. You think children parents shouldn't know what's going on with children in public schools.
Or if they're changing their gender.
Or if they're changing, because Karen, your gender's malleable, don't you know? Haven't you heard of two-spirit?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
come on. What's wrong with you? But I have a little bit of concern, and this is kind of what I want to jump into you with today. There are people who just, Trump gets elected, and then people go, oh, good. Everything's fine. He is taking care of the Department of Education, which is going to be a behemoth, by the way. That is not going to be a very easy thing to do. And after that, we've got the school choice argument now, which is going to take front and center. The discussion over whether or not education is a federal issue or whether it's a local issue, I believe firmly, and I think the Constitution backs me up on this. This is a local issue. The federal government should have never been involved in education. Also, never been involved in agriculture. Also, never been. We can go on and on and on.
Well, I would actually say the Constitution.
It limits the federal government.
Well, I would say nowhere in there are public schools. I'm a little bit of a libertarian on this. I think the church is who should be educating.
The church did a pretty good job. I mean, the people that wrote the Federalist Papers, most of them are homeschooled or schooled by the Quakers. Yeah. So there's that. Some of the brightest minds that have ever existed in the United States came out of, wait for it, their mama's kitchen. Yeah. So there's a lot to be said for that. But let's start talking about Trump, because Trump can't fix this. Yeah. And I think we're getting into trouble and into deep water when we sit back on our laurels and just think, oh, good, President Trump is here. Yeah. What say you?
Well, and that's a concern of mine, because I see we've got this momentum and people have, awakened and they woke up during COVID and thought, what is going on in our schools? And then they were gaslit 100%. Into thinking they were crazy. And now we've just realized that, oh, no, we're not crazy.
Oh, hey, we're not crazy.
We're the normal ones.
You're crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. It is not crazy that I don't want to go to the bathroom next to a man with body parts.
Unbelievable.
But again, we were gaslit for so long, and now it's so refreshing that people are like, oh wow.
Did you see the Bud Light commercial at the Super Bowl? They are going so hardcore into man land. Yeah. It is hilarious. I am here for it, Karen. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for it. They're talking like, they're trying to be as rednecky as they possibly can be. Yeah. And I think it's because they've realized, oh, hey, America isn't this trans happy, wackadoo woke leftist country. No. Most people just want to go to work, take their kids to church, and have a life and do a family backyard barbecue.
Yeah. And whatever happened to, what happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom. Okay,
Right.
well, you didn't want to leave it in the bedroom. You want to teach it to my kindergartner.
right.
And that's...
You want to take drag queens down to my library.
And when I first started fighting drag queen story hours, like I was the only one, and even my own church thought I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, do you really need to do that? Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
do.
government money. Government money. Which means it's my money, and I'm accountable for that because of the form of government.
Well, silence is consent.
And we have been given that form of government. So Trump, so I don't want us to miss this opportunity. And we're seeing, even with all of what's going on, just his first 3 weeks in office.
He's doing amazing things.
Yes, but the fight, the pushback. So what I want people to know is the minute all of this starts to go to the local level, that's the minute that's where the fight is. And they have already gone to the local level and are organized. They're trying
to beat everybody there.
Yes, yeah.
Because by the time we figured out, they're going to be organized and ready to go and have their firing squads all set up.
So, for example, executive order, on LGBTQ flags and BLM flags in the classroom. Couple of things, and that you'll lose federal funding. Well, first of all, schools only get between 10 and 14% of their funds federally. Second of all, depending on how it's written and what a school looks like, if that flag isn't tied to a federal funded grant, it's irrelevant. And third, I'm looking all over X or Twitter and seeing how they'll screenshot, Peoria, Kansas, or whatever school has a gay flag. They're going to lose their federal funding. That isn't how it works. It's not like someone's watching Twitter at the Department of Education in D.C. They call the Department of Treasury and say, don't send Peoria, Kansas, or wherever, or Illinois, any more money. That isn't how it works. Yeah. And the other side is digging in, especially in a blue state or lots of school districts. Like there was that, I don't know if people have seen that pastor out of Memphis, Tennessee, talking about violence in the streets just this last weekend.
I did see that.
His wife is an elementary school principal in that school district. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis went for Trump like in the 76%. Not Memphis. Tennessee went for Trump like in the 70 percentile.
Yeah.
So
Memphis is sad.
It is,
Memphis
but again,
in a bad way.
But it's the church and Christians being silent.
Yes.
So that's not how it's going to work. So it's going to mean that we are at the school board meetings reminding them of that we are filing the complaint with the Civil Rights Division that they're violating the law. It's going to take more effort on our part, or it's not going to change. Because again, they're just going to put the flag up. I mean, they're saying, we don't care. We're going to do this. I mean, states like California, we don't care. Bring it on. And I will say that losing federal funds, Tennessee, the last 2 years have had bills to try and say, we don't want federal funds because they don't want any of the ties to it.
Washington wants the money. And Washington State gets a lot of money from the federal government.
Yeah.
I bet you California does too.
Oh, and again, our education is so expensive and they're doing nothing with it, but they're buying these pornography books, sex ed.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's completely crazy.
Yeah.
So we know that the federal government, this shouldn't be their jurisdiction. I think I think Lynn McMahon's got her work cut out for her. And I think, what I understand is they're going to try to take a wrecking ball, which they need to the Department of Education.
Well, and I don't think people know. I don't know that I knew. I'm sure at some webinar or seminar I'd been at, but the Department of Education is a new thought.
Relatively.
In DC. Yeah. So it's not like this has been around forever and doing really, really well. It hasn't done well at all since it's been around.
Right. It's funny, the people who are just clawing and screaming to keep the Department of Education. It's like, why? What are they doing? Yeah. What are they doing with our money? And how is it benefiting our kids?
Yeah, why does our money go from here to DC 100%. And then back? Like, that doesn't even make common sense.
No, it doesn't. Which is why the Federalists were like, hey, this is not, the federal government was created to be very, very small, and it's bloated. And I'm telling you, all the stuff that Elon Musk is uncovering, it's astonishing.
Yes.
It's astonishing to me.
And I love hearing them go, oh, well, it was only 57 million. I'm like, what? Okay, well, 57 million plus another 57.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money to the ordinary person who's having a hard time buying eggs right now.
It all adds up.
It's just so frustrating. You know a little bit about the Deputy Secretary of Education. Tell us about that.
Penny Schwinn is who has been tapped, but there is quite a grassroots movement to get her out. And
so it's not a done deal?
No, she has to be confirmed, just like Linda McMahon will have to be. But Penny Schwinn she was somewhere before Texas, got booted out of Texas. She was in Tennessee. She was in Tennessee before I moved there. And I remember one morning getting a text from my daughter-in-law who homeschools. And it was, hey, during COVID, Penny Schwinn, Superintendent of Instruction of Tennessee, said, we are going to be going and knocking on every door of every house of every student to make sure they're learning. And that alarmed my daughter-in-law, and she sent it to me, and I right away got it over to my friends at ADF, I think ADF. So in a couple of days, she had to retract it. But that is her mindset, and that's what got her in trouble.
She's a big government girl.
Oh, not only is she a big government girl, but when she was in Texas, some of these names aren't going to mean much to people, but she was very big with Tim Gill, and he is the gay millionaire out of Colorado that flipped Colorado, and there was a book written about it, Blueprint. He attacks religious liberty. He went, and in all the states, he would go get moderate Republicans and took over state houses. That the way to do this is to take over state houses. So anyway, she tapped him and his foundations and for their sex ed. And so she got booted out of Texas. Then she comes to Tennessee. So then I actually moved to Tennessee.
She's sad about that.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah. Anyway, Penny. So this is where Moms for Liberty got their really big thing is they were doing the CRT stuff in Nashville. All of their complaints, and they supposedly it's against the law in Tennessee. They filed all of these complaints. She threw them all out.
No.
And did nothing.
Okay, so here's my question. How in the world, who nominates her? Did Trump do that?
I don't know. I do know. I know everybody from John Rich everybody from Tennessee that has any kind of influence in that realm. I'm trying to think of some of the other people are like,
and they're all like, no.
Yes. And so I will say the other side is starting to push back a little bit, but I think, okay, I'm just going to say it.
That's what I love about you, Karen.
DC think tanks. They do a lot of great work, so I don't want to totally jump on them. Mm-hmm. But this education at this academic 30,000-foot level, they have no idea what really goes on at the local level. And so this idea that, they're all about just their solutions. It's like we're so far past their solutions. And so I think she's got some think tank people. Obviously, she had some think tank people in Texas, and then she came to Tennessee. And I will tell you, the governor is a Christian. Mm-hmm. I don't think he governs from a biblical worldview, and I've said this. So
how can you be a Christian governor and not govern from a biblical worldview unless you're not really a Christian?
Okay, well, okay. So I'm just going to say Governor Lee. Some of his policies are really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
And he kept Penny Schwinn. He kept her all 4 years. And I firmly believe the only reason he got rid of her is he has aspirations for higher office. And everybody on the ground was screaming about her and what the Department of Education was doing. I mean, they did things like, under her, the Department of Education sent a memo to our school about the new sex ed and cited a law that didn't exist, that never made it out of committee, that the Democrats had written. So they send it to all the different school districts saying, you must have new curriculum that says this, that teaches about birth control, when the actual law says you can't teach about those things.
So not only is this like a bad pick, it's like a very bad pick.
It's an incredibly bad pick. And I've been saying,
can people vocalize They
need to contact their senator, every elected official, but their senator, and let them know. And I will say some loud voices are really hammering, but she's got a few think tanks in D.C. that are still like, oh, she's not that bad. No, she's bad. She's bad.
She's bad. I would like to see, and I've had some conversations with some people, as in Washington, D.C. about this. And I have been saying, and I'm going to keep saying it, What I would like to see is get rid of the Department of Education and start sending people around the country who can help people innovate.
Yes.
We can use innovation in this country in education. I mean, the Homeschool Resource Center is a shining star of an example of what can happen.
Absolutely.
With no government money whatsoever. We've had some incredible donors here. Yeah. But I know that these people exist.
Right.
So it's not that they don't exist. People say, well, you can't do it. Yes, you can do it. God sees what's happening to his children. These are all God's children that we are injuring in our school systems. Yep. I want to take a moment to say thank you to our sponsor today. Today's show is being sponsored in part by my friends at Give, Send, Go. And it's a pretty amazing partnership because months ago, before I received my medical diagnosis, we had been hoping to partner with this amazing company. And I had no idea that I was going to be on the receiving end of a Give, Send, Go campaign. But I can tell you it's been an incredible blessing for me. And I love what these guys are doing. They are really crowdfunding with a gospel message and sharing the light of Christ and helping us fulfill the mandate in Galatians 6:2, where we are really commanded to bear one another's burdens and in so doing fulfill the law of Christ. One of the things that's awesome about Give, Send, Go is that they have a prayer team that you can join and pray for the campaigns that you see online. So even if you can't give right now, you can pray. There is power in your prayers, and I love what the Lord is doing through the platform at Give, Send, Go. Check them out at givesendgo.com. Someone asked me the other day, and I'm just going to ask you, I won't say what I said because I want to hear what you said, but on another podcast.
This is pressure coming from Heidi St. John. You're Heidi St. John.
Yeah. Only when it comes to sourdough. So, can the schools be reformed? Can we fix them?
Not in my lifetime.
That's what I said. I said no.
I represent a public policy organization, so I have to be very careful. So no, not in my life.
It doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I'm just wondering.
Well, no, I believe absolutely you should try. It's our tax dollar. I believe what I do only encourages people to homeschool and pull the kids out.
Yeah.
Because I was like you, 1 foot in and, I'm not going to. I mean, I have to
Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yes, I did it through a charter school. Then I was like, I don't. Then I realized that the teacher that came in that then went back and was sharing things about what went on. And and it was a Christian. So all of that, then I was like, I'm going to join HSLDA. And they don't, first of all, HSLDA does not recommend this, but I said, and I have the constitutional right to homeschool, so I'm not even going to file the paperwork in California, they tell me. Now, HSLDA tells you to do what they say.
Well, and as someone who sits on the board of HSLDA, I would say follow the law.
Yeah.
You definitely want to follow the law.
I know. So I went from kind of never going to do it, then charter school to, it is none of their business.
I know,
I'm not.
Don't we all have that moment, though? I think we all do, where it's like, you know what? I'm not going to register my kids with Social Security. You take that, you know, Uncle Sam, whatever.
No, so that was a process. But I don't like, I feel like what I'm doing, there's different organizations that go in and pull your kids out. I would say that, but I feel like my calling is to show them, because everyone...
Well, you're shining a light.
Well, yes, because they think, my school's the exception. And so when they see the library books, they see the curriculum, they try and opt their kid out, or they try and take their kid because grandma's dying. They want to get 3 days off so they can go see grandma, and the school's throwing a fit and saying, no, you're going to be truant. Yeah. It's like, it's so backwards.
Yeah.
And so I feel like shining the light on them, people, I'm just very big on, it's in your school district. Then you can decide. And I believe people who are truly walking with the Lord will come to that conclusion to pull their kids out.
There isn't another conclusion to come to anymore. Isn't. And people say to me, you want your kids to be salt and light. I'm like, you can't be salt until you have salt. We are sending little ones to the front lines of the most epic culture war ever to be waged against children in this country or anywhere in the world. And you can't tell me when you pat your little, 9-year-old on the head and give her a sack lunch and say, Mommy, we'll see you later. I told Britt the other day, I said, I feel like, we're putting these kids on a Humvee.
Yeah.
And we're sending them to the front lines of a war that's more real than you can possibly imagine. And we send them with a bologna sandwich and some organic apple slices and think we've done a good thing.
Well, and it's interesting because you and I have talked about parents that don't have courage to go to a school board meeting. Well, if you don't have courage to go to a school board meeting, how are you expecting your teenager to stand up in a class and say this is wrong, or your 9-year-old?
Yeah.
And I often say,
You can't pass on what you don't possess.
no, and you can't raise Daniels if you're not being a Daniel yourself.
That's right.
I remember being in a Bible study that we used to lead, and anyone that's been in couples Bible study, I mean, people are sharing that, oh, hey, and their language, a guy that worked construction was like, you can really pray for me. It's like I wasn't a good witness. My language, everything, or dealing with pornography, sexual sin. Okay, that's adults in a Bible study. Okay, and we're struggling in our relationship about being obedient and taking every thought captive to Christ. How do we expect a 9-year-old or a hormonal teenager that has normal hormones going? How do we expect them to stand up against that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's lunacy.
Yeah.
It's lunacy. And so when you say, and I say too, that the schools can't be reformed, we're not saying don't try, because there will always be people that don't pull their kids out of the schools. And so for that reason, we keep trying and keep trying and
I keep trying to expose. Yeah, absolutely. And get our tax dollars out of it.
Yes. But in terms of can we fix it? No. And I believe it needs to be torn out, root and branch. It has to absolutely be uprooted and dismantled and started over. And for that reason, I don't think we'll ever see it in our lifetime. Yeah. That's why I'm telling parents, get your kids out of government school.
Well, because this is their own. Great if it gets reformed 35 years from now. And I'm not convinced even then that it will, but it is going to take that kind of a time frame. Do you sacrifice your kids in the meantime?
Right.
Because this is their only time they're in kindergarten. The only time they're in first grade. The only time they're in second grade. The only time, they're in English lit class. This is it.
It's powerful to think of. And I remember, raising as many kids as I have over all these years with my husband, as I'm watching my daughter now raising her children. When she has a bad day, I will sometimes remind her, you have a 3-month-old for just a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then you have a 4-month-old for just a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then you have a 2-year-old for just a year.
Yeah.
And then you have a 3-year-old. Yeah. And it goes by fast. Why are we wasting it?
Yeah.
Why are we giving our kids to Caesar for the best hours of their day? We're shocked when we give our kids to Rome. We send our kids to Rome for education for 12 years in a row, and then they come out, wait for it, Romans.
Yeah, and you can't send them into, I love, Sam Sorbo and the stuff she shares. You send them in telling, respect the teacher, they're the authority. Mm-hmm. Well, then they come home and you're like, no, don't believe that. Don't. Yeah. I mean,
I'm the authority.
And everything they've been taught. No, that's not true. It's like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think partly we're doing it because that's what we've been told to do.
Yes.
Right? We were all raised that way. I mean, I travel all over the country, as you well know. I'm speaking, most weekends I'm gone speaking somewhere. And I'm still seeing, when I say how many of you in this room are homeschooled, it's still about 10%. Yeah. So we've still got 90% of these people that this is new for them. Yeah. It's a new generation of parents. I mean, praise the Lord for COVID.
Yep.
For exposing what got exposed in the schools. I think we're seeing a renaissance in education, largely because of all the yuck that we saw when COVID accidentally took the Band-Aid off the oozing wound.
Not just the yuck, school. But how the academics is not happening.
Right. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, we're sending our kids to a cesspool every day to get a mediocre education. Mm-hmm. It's so sad. But now we're hearing the argument about school choice. Yeah. And this is, I think, has the potential, which is why I sort of framed it at the onset of the show today. I know this is divisive. I know people have differing opinions. And I just want to say this isn't a salvation issue. But I do think we need to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves when we talk about things like this, because where the money comes from matters. How we get the money matters. The question at the end of the day is, do we want the government involved in education? I do not want the government involved in education. A Firmly Planted Family has never taken money from the federal government. By the grace of God, we never will. We don't believe that the government, because the government's like a big giant camel. Yeah. And once he sticks his nose under your tent, sister, he ain't taking it back out. Frame for us the arguments about school choice that you're seeing taking on a whole new persona now.
Well, again, I think a lot of this comes from the DC, and I was big on school choice. I think what I interests me is when Trump talks about a tax credit.
That's what I'm in favor of. Yeah.
So
let me keep more of my own money.
Exactly. So I think there's some things that we can and should be doing that aren't being discussed, because school choice is not going to reform it. We are so far gone, and what it's doing from what I see on the ground, and it's happening in all these red states, Texas, Tennessee. Tennessee tried to pass it last year with a super majority of Republicans. Mm-hmm. It was so poorly written, the 38-page bill, that the grassroots threw a fit. So literally the governor went out, played in primary races, which if you're into politics, a governor never does that in his own party. Mm-hmm. In my own area, $1 million was spent against the candidate that was not for school choice and got the candidate that was for school choice in. So they just passed this bill for school choice, and all it did was give more money to the government schools. It didn't do what people who say they're for school choice want. It's because we want the underprivileged kids to be able to have the money follow them. Well, this isn't going to help any of the kids, because It's only $7,000 that my husband goes on Thursday nights with the Good News Clubs. Those kids aren't going to get any help. Mm-hmm. It's not going to take the money out of the public school. As a matter of fact, it grew the public schools. It gave them more money. So it's now you're going to have kids going into a private school that now have strings attached, and there's other kids in that private school, but in order to get this money, they've got to take a certain test, and it's not the test that the private school does. So what's going to start to happen? They're going to start teaching to the test, but it's going to be the other test, the test of the progressives, the test that the government, not what the independent private school wanted. And you're just starting to open up that door, where I just see this as a way to take over private school, just like they want to take over home. They've tried to take over homeschool. And that really is. And they've done a lot. I don't think people realize in a lot of these states, and they won't know it till they get there. The left has always been so far ahead of us. I mean, Satan has gotten in there. So there's stuff on the books. Like I remember 5 years ago, they were passing stuff on the books in the state of Nevada on private school and the training for the marginalized. Okay, that's the LGBT. I mean, it was like the language, but mandating it on private schools. So it's only a matter of time before they start collecting.
Well, you almost got to have a left lexicon.
Yeah.
To go over all of the verbiage that they use.
But they've already set it all up. So there's laws against it. So these private schools don't think there's strings, but then there's another law, or they come in the next session with another law that says, private schools need to do this. And by the way, we have the vouchers. And of course, Republicans are spineless. And so they go, they are. And they even in red states, most Republicans are spineless. And they go in and they're like, well, they are getting voucher money. And then, the good old boy, well, they are getting government money. So you're right. We should do this. And again, they just go along with this stuff. And that's how it happens. I used to be much more supportive of school choice. I just don't see it doing anything that we had hoped it would do. It's public education's too far gone.
It is too far gone. And I think, when I ran for Congress, I actually ran on a platform of school choice that excluded the homeschool movement and private schools. I believe in school choice for within the public school system. But keep your awful money. The leaven that's going to work its way through the whole loaf. Keep it in the public school system and don't pollute private schooling and homeschooling with government money, because that's how I see it. I see it as a pollution of the system. To me, the only way that school choice works is if you come to me and you say, I just found out that there are furries in the Ridgefield School District. And you go, oh, hey. And so you write a letter to the principal and you say your school's terrible, which it is. And he sends you to another terrible school. But then the money follows the child. Right. And so sort of the, whatever you call it, I guess another word for that would be like a backpack bill.
Right.
But it's really important, I think, that parents whose kids are not in the public school or who plan on taking their kids out of the government schools, that they understand the inherent dangers of these voucher programs and school choice. Because, and you just said it and I wrote it down, there will always be strings attached. The government's not just going to give you money and then go, here you go, honey. They're going to want to know. And they have every right to. If the government gives you as a homeschooler money for your curriculum, then that's taxpayer money. Then they are going to want to know because the taxpayers have a right to know.
I mean, I'm arguing you should go in over the books that they're selling and you should get them out because it's taxpayer money.
100%. And so if you don't want the government all up in your grill, don't take government money, because the moment we do, and they'll be justified in asking for it.
No.
People say, well, they won't ask for it. They can't do that. No, they can, because it's taxpayer dollars and they're going to want accountability. So then the question becomes, whose standard are they going to try to shoot for?
And again, they will come in with next year another thing or another, in the standards or the left knows what they're doing.
Yeah, their playbook is extraordinarily well thought through.
And they're going to keep playing it. And again, the following the money, if they really let you do that in public school, that's what might make some changes, because if there was a good public school and everyone was taking their kids there and they were respecting parental rights, and the charter school movement started that way in California, and there were some good things going on. And then, of course, regulation.
That's how they do it.
Yep.
There are good things going on, and it's almost like, look over here at this shiny, really good thing. And so while you're over here going, oh, that's really cool, I could use government money and my kid could take horseback riding lessons, they're over here baking into the cake all of these regulations and all these things that you have to do if you want to collect that money.
Well, and it didn't stay that way. And that
never does.
Yeah, it never does. And that's why early on the charter school thing was really creative, but it didn't stay that way. And it's funny about what you said about, choice in school. Part of my eye-opening during my waking up, I was shocked. This tells you how naive I was, that I didn't get to pick my daughter's kindergarten teacher. I was like, so I
just assigned her a teacher?
I just go on Thursday, look at the list, find her name.
I don't get to interview her?
And I'm supposed to send my child without me for several hours a day for 5 days. I'm like, I interview a babysitter for 2 hours in my home.
Right.
That's how naive I was.
But we've been taught to think that way.
Yeah. And to me, that was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that person and I don't get a pick it. And then I started finding out when people start to ask, or you hear this all the time with twins. Families either want their kids together or they want the twins separated. I mean, whatever the family wants, but it's always the opposite policy at the school. And it's like,
it's so true.
And you still send your kids there when you think this would be best for your kids?
Yeah, it's part of the system that we've all been brought up in, and we've been indoctrinated ourselves to believe that the schools know what is best. We've been indoctrinated to believe. I mean, I grew up this way, just like you did. When I
got a D- in government.
I mean, come on. I got a D in home economics sewing. I mean, I just cannot sew.
Heidi St. John, are you serious?
Not so. I got a D. As soon as they say right sides together, my head explodes. I'm like, wait, what?
It's hilarious.
Right sides together, like the patterns, I cannot do it. I hate it. I was really good at cooking, and I still really like that. Baking, absolutely. But sewing, no. You know who does sew in my family?
Jay.
Yes. And he's really good at it. He is really, that man
He's a keeper.
That man is sexy behind a sewing machine. I will tell you what. He sewed all of our Christmas stockings.
Oh, really?
He did
That's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, he did that. Don't write me letters about Christmas stockings, okay? So anyway, I know that coming out of a private Christian school where I got a D- in home economics, and it turns out I'm actually pretty good at home economics in real life. I know that the schools aren't always a reflection of what the child is going to wind up doing, what they're going to be gifted at. Yep. And this idea that the schools know best, we have come out of, did you graduate from a public school? Or?
Yeah. Oh, public school.
So you graduated from a public school. I graduated from a Christian school. And I came out thinking that my private school education, which my grandparents, I'm sure, paid a lot of money for, somehow I wasn't qualified to teach a 5-year-old to read.
Yeah.
That's what you come out with.
No, and I will tell you, that was probably the most satisfying thing. And I made a lot of, I mean, I look at you and firmly planted and all of this. I made a lot of mistakes, but the satisfaction of
girl, you just weren't around for my mistakes. It's all right.
Teaching my daughter to read was so
satisfying.
Yes,
no, it is.
Yes,
it's like this
it was like
moment.
I taught her this.
It's so true. I don't know what you use, but I found a book called "Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons," and that's how I taught. That's how I taught Sierra to read, and I was hooked.
Can I tell you that I learned things? I was just telling my husband this because I wasn't taught with phonics. And so
you did the whole word method, or it must have
I don't know. I was Boulder, Colorado. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because it's still crazy. But I learned that TI says shh. And that if you circle it, it says S, it gives the sound SH. So things like lotion, I know that sounds silly, but now things happen and I can actually read a word that I wouldn't know, but I know the TI or
100%.
fuchsia. I mean, things like that. It was like, oh my gosh, I never learned this stuff.
No, it's
I
true.
got to learn it.
Well, and I think that's kind of the secret sauce of homeschooling. You guys know how passionate I am to see parents discipling their children in the Bible. And while it doesn't have to be complicated, it does have to be intentional. That's why I'm excited to introduce you guys to the Illuminate Bible series from my friends at Lifestone Ministries. This is a Bible curriculum that's designed to grow with your child from first grade all the way through high school. So whether your child is just starting to read or asking deeper questions about faith and culture, Illuminate meets them right where they are and helps them build a lasting relationship with Jesus. Each week, you'll walk through a simple 5-step approach. You'll look at a Bible story, check out the context around it, see how it connects to the rest of Scripture, study the theology behind it, and find out what it means for real life. It's designed for families, so you don't need 5 different books for 5 different kids. You can go through it together using workbooks tailored to the ages of your kids. So if you've been looking for a way to disciple your kids without adding more stress to your day, this is it. For more information, visit lifestoneministries.com/Heidi to learn more about this amazing homeschooling tool. You don't have to know all of these things. You can literally learn right along with your child. Yep. And there's no shame in that.
No.
You know, learn right. I mean, I enjoyed history for the first time, teaching it to my kids. I became, I found Joy Hakam wrote a series called The History of the United States. It's about a 12-book series, but she kind of goes through the United States and pictures and maps and timelines and everything. And I love all that stuff. Yeah. But it reads like a story. And I was I love this country.
Yeah.
I'm like the girl that cries at the national anthem. Yeah. I love this country, and I'm so proud to be in the United States. And learning history again with my kids just deepened my love for the country. That's what it should do.
Yep.
That's what it should do. And instead, in the public school system, in the government school system, we're stripping a love of country out of our kids.
Oh, we're everything that our country is bad. Yeah, we've made mistakes, but what's great about our country is that we correct them.
Yes.
And that our founders anticipated things. Yes. And we have a constitution. And yes, slavery was wrong. But that doesn't mean everything George Washington did was bad.
That's right.
And so,
I mean, we have abortion in this country. I mean, come on, we're still doing things wrong. And I hope that we live to see that abortion is not only illegal, but actually unthinkable. It's already immoral. Right. We just need to bring the country around to go, hey, that's immoral. Yeah. But it takes time. And when I look back over all those years that I spent in a Christian school, and then I come out, I don't feel qualified to teach my own child to read. And then I realize I can. And it dawns on me that the school system and all the people around it have been lying to me about what I'm capable of doing and what my actual responsibility is with my children. Yeah. It changes the way you see your life.
It does.
And it's game changing.
And the way you see education and the purpose of it and 4 walls and just all of that. And that it changes how you look at everything. Mm-hmm. And the idea, I think the other idea, people think that these teachers are at teaching colleges learning how to teach 2 + 2 = 4, but that is not what they're taught to be counselors, emotional support systems,
social emotional learning.
And so it's a whole new ball game. Mm-hmm. It's been coming down and people started seeing it in COVID, and it's not just going to turn around tomorrow.
No, it isn't. It's something that you said, I want to go back for just a second. You say, I look at you and firmly plan on all the things. I did not tell you this, but I think the title of my next book, I'm working on a book, is going to be, well, that didn't work. Like all the things. Tried that. That didn't work. All the things that we tried. I was thinking about, I actually have started making a list of all the parenting things I tried that didn't work, all the homeschooling things I tried that didn't work, all of the book ideas I had that didn't work, all the times that we tried to get a homeschool resource center up off the ground and it didn't work. And I think what I want people to know is that the secret sauce is the Holy Spirit and perseverance. Yeah. Perseverance is that patience under pressure, right? It has nothing to do with whether or not we had a great idea and it worked the first time, right? And I think your life is an example of that too. Once you see something and you go, oh my goodness, this is important.
Yeah.
It's being willing to stay in there, even when you go, this isn't working, and ask the Lord to help you kind of redirect that. And I think when parents feel overwhelmed by the system, or they feel overwhelmed by homeschooling, or they feel overwhelmed by the government, you're no different, Mom and Dad. You're no different than that guy that's sitting on the floor of the House of Representatives right now, making rules for your kids that you hate.
Yeah.
You're no different than he is. It's just the question is, one of you is going to step out and take that risk, and one of you isn't.
Yeah. I remember a local legislator, and poor thing wanted my endorsement for something. And I was at a Republican convention, but he had a bill about mandating helmets on the ski slopes. Well, I grew up in Colorado, skiing without a helmet. And I was around when the bicycle helmets became big. Now, great if you want your kid, but that is not the role of government. So I remember seeing him. He's like, "Oh, Karen, I've been wanting to talk to you." You are
libertarian.
Not really, but well, a little bit.
I think you are. My husband's the same way.
Yeah,
he would agree. He would agree.
The government just doesn't need to mandate it.
It's not your job.
Well, so he's like, "Oh, Karen, I've been meaning to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh, well, Ted, I've been meaning to talk to you too." And I said something about, "Do you know the names of my 4 kids?" And he goes, "No." And I said, "Then why are you telling them what to wear when they go skiing?" I said it a little nicer, not much nicer, but I was like, "What are their names?" And he's like, "Well, not." And then he goes, "Not you, Karen, but other people." I go, "Well, now you sound like Obama saying, we've got to do this." I go, "You don't know them. I just think they're free market solutions, and I would like to see us do them." I go, "Well, what if like car insurance, I got a cheaper rate if I agree to do my seatbelt, and that my insurance, if I'm not wearing my seatbelt, is void." Or I just think there's some
we do
things
better education.
Yeah.
We could show people videos of what happens when you're skiing and you don't have a helmet.
I mean, again, I don't know. I grew up skiing. I don't go fast enough at this point at my age to.
I can't actually ski, which is a shame since I'm around the mountains here. Yeah. But I will say this, my husband and I have had the seatbelt conversation a lot, because I grew up in the 70s. We didn't wear seatbelts. I mean, I got pictures of me like in the front seat, sitting on my dad's lap with those giant steering wheels, there was no power steering, all this stuff. And Jay said, I remember telling me, "I hate that they're mandating this in the law. Like, if you don't wear a seatbelt," he's like, "this is not," and I was like, "Well, of course it's a good thing. They're trying to keep their people safe." And so then we framed it in COVID, we're going to keep you safe. Well, guess what, nanny state? Yeah. That's not your job.
Yeah.
It's not your job.
Did my kids wear bike helmets? Yes. But if Jordan wanted to ride up the street to Katie's house without it, I don't want to get a ticket for it.
No.
And that's the problem. And that's, again, with the whole helmet thing, I'm like, ski resorts can give a cheaper ticket if you, there's just all sorts of things they can do to encourage you. But I'm not going to wear my helmet. My husband, he snowboards. He's always in a helmet. I'm not.
I did not know that you were a mountain girl.
Oh yeah. I grew up skiing yeah.
I did not know you were a mountain girl. Yeah. That is just amazing. We're gonna have some fun while you're here. I too am a mountain girl.
Okay.
I love the mountains. I mean, I love the ocean too, but take me to the mountains. Absolutely. I don't know what it is. I just
cabin in the snow,
the fireplace. Yep. Come on, I love it when it snows. It doesn't snow here as much as I would hope that it would. You guys get a lot more snow in Colorado. Now you're in Tennessee. How much snow do you get in Tennessee?
We do get a little bit. We have all 4 seasons, but everything shuts down. People are crazy, like school's off. It is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny.
I learned to drive in blizzards in Colorado, but
we got stuck. My husband, I say we used to live in Colorado Springs.
Oh,
and he got stuck in between Colorado Springs and Monument. He was driving up to go to Monument for a GEM event. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you what, those blizzards on that.
Well, and that's right where it's bad.
No that's joke.
Yeah.
He was like, "I'm going to turn around."
Yeah.
I had to drive home.
You can literally not see if you're caught in a storm like that.
It is crazy town. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, we get a half an inch of snow here and everyone's just like, "Well, school's out."
Oh, they announce it the day before. Right. Like all the school closings in Tennessee.
And everybody runs down to Costco.
Yeah, yeah.
And we get
no
2 weeks worth of food and we got to make sure we got all the toilet paper.
You need to go to Sam's, not Costco anymore.
I know, I heard. Lord, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I'm actually really sad because I love me some Costco.
Yeah.
We don't have Sam's Club here.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that? No Sam's Club here in the Northwest. But we used to not have a Chick-fil-A too, and now we do. But now I know
you guys have
Chick-fil-A is kind
In-N-Out?
of woke. Yes,
Okay.
we do. Yeah, not real close. I mean, the closest one is Salem, but we do. I love In-N-Out. You know, the other day, this is crazy. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but you guys can just listen in. This is what we would be doing if we were on the phone. The other day I was at Costco, and they have these giant candles. They're Christmas candles for sale. They're like clearancing them out. So they were like $25. Now they're super cheap. Well, I bought one because they're so beautiful. These big, like a big square with 4 wicks in it. Not that I'm advocating for candles because I know they're going to kill you and all the things. But anyway, I like this candle. I get it home and there's a gospel tract in it.
Wow.
For real. That's a true story.
Interesting.
Yeah, I showed it to my husband and I was like, look at that. There's a gospel
And I
tract
saved
in
you
here.
money, Jay.
Yes, I'm like, I saved you money and someone's presenting the gospel. I mean, you already know it, but they're presenting the gospel for you anyway.
Give it away as a gift.
It's true. I hope going forward that there is a renewed sense of passion around the issue of school choice. People actually doing their homework. We can be less emotional about it and more pragmatic. This is not a salvation issue. I have friends who very strongly disagree with me on this. I just continue to believe we need to go back to the founding fathers, decide what is the role of the government, where should our money be going. More money should be out locally. President Trump's talking about getting rid of income tax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm almost
I'm
to
here
Social
for it.
Security, so I'm up for that too.
Oh my word. I'm here for this. But it's going back to the nuts and bolts of what made this nation the greatest nation on the face of the earth. And a lot of it was just, it's letting people choose. Yeah. You know, we get to choose.
It's called freedom.
It's called freedom. You're not free to kill your baby. So for all the pro boards who are like, that's what we mean. No, we're not free to kill people. But we should be free to choose our own destiny, make wise choices or make foolish ones and learn from them.
Right.
We should be able to do that. And the difference between the federal government and the local government, I think hopefully people are starting to wake up. I know you've spent your, the last 30 years trying to get people involved in local government.
And they're finally waking up. And it was COVID. And I thought, oh, wow, I don't know what's going to happen during COVID. It was the best thing. I've been busier the last 3 years. I mean,
Same.
Traveling. I mean, people are waking up and saying, hey, wait a minute. Hey,
Yeah.
wait a minute. This is not the country that I want to be living in.
Yeah.
But Ben Franklin said it. It's a republic if you can keep it.
Yeah.
And that means there's something we need to be doing. It's not somebody else that's going to do it. I don't like those other people that are doing it.
Nope. I don't like the village.
Exactly. I don't
saw
want
the
the
village.
raising, and I'm
Absolutely
not letting them
not.
raise my kids.
One thing I love about what you're doing is you're helping parents. And I think this is kind of the point of today's, we've talked about how Trump isn't going to be able to fix things, that we need to start doing that, get off the bench, get onto the battlefield. You guys are the ones who are going to, with the Lord's help, are going to be able to fix this thing. But I want to see parents, well, not just parents, citizens start to go on offense. We have lived in the state of sort of reactionary republicanism, where we just react to things. The left lobs a bomb at us and we go, "Wah!" We try to react to it. We have an opportunity now because I think Trump is in the White House. God's given us this moment of reprieve. He chose mercy over judgment.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm like, all gas, no brakes. Instead of being reactionary and just reacting to things as they come, we can go on offense. And I think that's what you're trying to tell people to do. Stop reacting, start going on offense.
Well, and not just take back the classroom, but parents need to reclaim their parental rights.
Yep.
Somehow they've gotten mixed up thinking, oh, when they go to, I'm going to give them over. No,
the schools believe that.
Well, they do.
That's
And it's become this cycle.
Yeah.
But you need to reclaim them. No one is going to assert your parental rights for you.
Yeah.
So if you're not asserting them, you've given them up.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to empower and encourage parents, because I, again, talked about sex ed. I remember when we opted one of our sons out of sex ed in high school, sitting at the baseball game, and there was a Mormon mom there, and she's like, oh, you opted Josh out? Oh, I wanted to, but I was afraid Taylor would, get embarrassed. I was like, listen, it's not the role of government. We sat down with him. Yeah. She was like, oh, I wanted to. Well, get another mom to do it and do it
and
with you.
I think
Youth pastors need to be saying, opt your kids out.
Yes, and stop. I also think, we were born for this time in human history.
Yes.
We were literally born for this fight, born for this battle. God in his wisdom put Karen England on the earth right now and Heidi St. John.
Right now in America, not another country.
That's exactly right. And we have an opportunity to do something. And I do hear from a lot of parents who are like, well, I didn't want to embarrass my kid. And when did we get so patsy about raising our children? We are raising adults, not little kids.
Yeah.
We're trying to raise them to adulthood, and we cannot protect them. We can't protect them against every little ouch that might come their way. And so if you say, well, I just don't want my kid to feel uncomfortable and all of his friends are in the public school, and what's he going to do for his friends? I asked my friend Britt the other day, I said, how many of your friends from grade school do you hang around with?
Yeah, none. Yeah.
How many of your friends from high school do you hang around with? None.
Yeah.
Literally none. Do you still talk to your parents? Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. It turns out this is the building block of the culture.
Absolutely.
It's the family. And we need to do everything we can to protect our kids. And if your kids don't want you to take them out of school, I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. Kids, my kid says to me, but Mom, I don't want to do that. Don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't care. I mean, I love you.
Right.
And let's talk about it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make this decision based on what I think is best for you, and your father and I praying about this together and doing what we know is in your best interest. And it has very little to do, if not anything to do with whether or not you're comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We need to go back to being the parents.
Yes.
And
You say take back the classroom. I'm like, take back your parenting.
Yeah, absolutely. And get rid of the cell phones and stop. Why are parents being so peer pressured?
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
It's weird.
And especially Christian parents. Again, this is where, I complain about the church a lot too, in addition to public school. The church needs to be coming alongside these parents.
Yes.
Why aren't churches? This is a big thing that I've been pushing lately. When there's a big event at a school board meeting, why aren't churches opening up and doing daycare so that the mom and dad can go together? Because they're always separated. And if there's some big event,
say, we'll watch your kids so you guys can go to this.
Why are some churches opening up when you're going up to testify at that bill and saying, okay, we've already done the background check on them. We've got the building. Let's make this easy so parents can go engage in their government.
Man, that's good.
So let's start doing that.
Yeah, I love that. I hope that more people are going to pass this podcast along to their pastors, and that we can actually get off the bench and onto the battlefield and engage in a way that actually moves the needle. Karen England, you are a national treasure. I've so loved having you here. If people want to find you, where should they go?
TakeBackTheClassroom.com, and then my social media is TakeBackTheClassroom.com, Kitchen Table Activist, and my X is at Karen England.
At Karen England. Karen England, I love you, girl. Thanks for coming out.
Love you too.
For more information on my guest today, you guys can hop on over to HeidiSt.John.com/podcast and check out the notes. If you're interested in my speaking season, I will literally be crisscrossing the country from March through July this year. I hope you'll come out and say hello. I want to always give a plug for the homeschool conferences that are in your area. If you're thinking about homeschooling, there is almost always a conference that you can go to. Check out Teach Them Diligently. They're around the country. There are many, many state organizations that you can get involved with. You can find out more about the Homeschool Legal Defense Association by going to hslda.org, and just do your homework, you guys. This is your life. God has you here for such a time as this, and you were literally born for the fights that are in front of us right now, and we need your help. Your kids need your help. I believe that their little hearts and their futures are worth it. Thank you guys so much for listening, for leaving reviews for the podcast, and sharing this podcast on social media with your friends and family. It really does help us with distribution and with sponsors, so we greatly appreciate it. Thanks again, you guys. I'll see you right back here again at the intersection of faith and culture. Parents of teens, listen up, because I have found an awesome Bible discipleship program that I think you're going to love. If you want your teens to own their faith instead of just regurgitating Bible facts, you need to know about RVL Discipleship, the curriculum. It's a powerful new curriculum that's been designed for homeschooled teens from our friends at Focus on the Family. Each lesson is taught by awesome Bible teacher Ray Vanderlyn. His semester-long course takes teens beyond fill-in-the-blank lessons to real-life applications application, helping them live out their faith with boldness and purpose. RVL curriculum is flexible, parent-friendly, and deeply engaging because it's been designed to spark real conversations about faith between you and your teens. Right now, you guys can get 2 free sample lessons at rvlcurriculum.com/HSJ, plus 10% off when you purchase the curriculum with code Heidi10. You guys, discipleship matters. Let's raise our kids to become lifelong disciples of Jesus. Go to rvlcurriculum.com/HSJ today.